Greetings from the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. Today is Friday, November 14th, 2025. It is 2:19 a.m. and outside it would be about 67 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm in Terminal D right now. The Dallas-Fort Worth Airport has 5 terminals, terminals A, B, C, D, and E. But I just arrived on a flight. It was delayed a couple hours, but just got here now. This is the first time I've ever been to the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, so I wanted to do a little bit of a tour. Behind me going that way would be one of the TSA check-in areas, but obviously I'm not going to leave the airport. My connecting flight ends up leaving Dallas around 6 a.m. this morning, headed toward Cleveland. You got a nice little Joy Christmas sign welcoming me here. Over here there's a little map. It can kind of help guide us on things after it loads. Fairly detailed map when you zoom in on it. So we're in Terminal D. It shows us right there. That's roughly where we're at. Let's pinch and zoom out for a second. So you've got Terminal D and also B, A, C, E. Now, from the looks of things, it looks like directly by foot on the map you can connect from D to B, although online it makes it sound like there might be like an underground tunnel or something. I'll have to investigate that, where you could actually walk from B to A or D to C. E, it looks like, might be isolated from the rest of them, but either way, the most efficient way to transfer between terminals is to take the Skyway train, which I think runs every 2 minutes and goes pretty quickly around these things. I don't think it shows on the map exactly where those are, so we'll walk around D. But for example, if we zoom in here, see it says D18 checkpoint closed. I think that's the TSA thing that's right behind us. So we're kind of going to ignore what would be here, like the various airlines and stuff, and we're looking at everything that's after TSA. So for example, in a second we'll see the Coca-Cola World Experience. This is the area we're currently at. So we'll go ahead and walk through D and see what it has to offer. So right away this seemed cool. Coca-Cola Around the World Experience. Got some nice artwork. This one, it says it's a Texas folk bottle, 8-foot bottle made of recycled tractor parts and barbed wire, was created by Texas artist David Strickland for the 1996 Centennial Olympic Games Folk Art Bottle Exhibition. And what is this one here? Mexico bottle. Alejandro Lococo created the Kiss of the Moon in this personalized Coca-Cola bottle, using a bottle as a representation of cultures in Mexico. And you got some Beijing Olympic contour bottles, film, sports, music, books, Coca-Cola music box, bottle radio, Coke Zero robot, little Coke radio vending machine. That's pretty cool. Imagine listening to AM FM on that. Polar bear, tribute to fashion. Max Headroom product skateboard, surge can, a high C can. I could go for a high C right now. Love their fruit punch and orange drinks. More Olympic memorabilia, including the FIFA World Cup Russia soccer ball. And there's some type of interactive looking thing here where you can look at things like Trivia Challenge. Or at least I thought you could. This stuff may not be quite operating right now, but then some more memorabilia here. And then the last bottle on display in this manner is for Bolivia Folk Bottle. Okay, but let's get on with the walk around the D gates. So the gates are all surrounding the outside. I came in on D16, I believe, over there, and that's the same area I'm going to be leaving in the morning, but there's D14, 15. Let's go this way first, and then unfortunately it doesn't make a big circle, so I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to walk all the way down to near D1 and then have to walk back, so I'll record the journey going down to like gate D1. Then I'll stop the footage and resume back where like the Coca-Cola thing was at the sort of the midpoint in my walk. Now, of course, keep in mind we are at, like I said, currently, if I look at my watch, 2:25 a.m. So you are not going to see a very active airport in terms of amount of people, and everything's going to be closed. But hopefully still gives you, if you're a visitor, a view of what some of the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport has to offer. Like there's an Applebee's right there. Looks like we have another artwork thing on the ground here. That one is called Linda Guy for the work of art. By the way, if you are into artwork as part of your method of killing time in an airport, the D terminal is the number one terminal for all artwork. Like the other terminals really don't have anything. They have a project to try to expand that over the years, but right now it's just nowhere close. Let's see where Cleveland is. Yep, up there I got gate D16 departing 6:40 a.m. for Cleveland on Frontier Airlines. It's kind of an interesting board. I've never seen one like that. Usually you just see everything spelled out in rows of data, not a bunch of squares. Oh, okay, so cool. Here's one of the Skylink stations. So anytime you're going through the airport, it's always good if you're trying to find something to look through this. So there's, if you take the big escalators upward, which we'll do that later for at least a sample to one of the other terminals, you can connect to all the other gates while staying inside security. That's the big key. You do not have to leave security if you go up there. So either look for the orange Skylink logo or look for that, or just find where the huge escalators are. There's also one set of stairs there. Another little Christmas effect, even though it's kind of random. The packaging with the gifts. Another Coca-Cola Fly Refreshed station. And I guess that's, since it's nighttime, we really probably won't see what the outside of the Skylink looks like, but that looks like what the train units would look like. Train cars. Baguettes and bowls at the Bon shop. Another one of the artworks in Terminal D. And behind us is the Wall Street Journal shop. I don't see a notation for what this artwork is called. I could check my phone. You know. If you go to the Dallas-Fort Worth website, they have all the information on there. interesting seating arrangements for some of these gates. And then over here, it's an advertisement for McDonald's at D34, not the actual McDonald's. This one is the highest power for the, I think it's a couple of horses on the ground. As we approach D5 and D6, and then you've just got gates D1 through D4 all the way down here. I haven't been inside one of the restrooms yet. I'll do that later on, but they have, I don't think I've seen that ever before too. Like, it's LCD screens and it's telling you how many stalls are available and how far the next restroom walk is. That's kind of, I wonder how long they've had that, because I haven't seen that at any other airport either, where it's telling you how many stalls are free, and it's like, it must be electronically monitoring them. Okay, now we've got a long hallway here. If you're trying to rush over to the D1 through D4 gates. And again, some more of these Christmas decorations lightly throughout it as we're in the month of November. Here it's saying the Nasher Sculpture Center. Dallas Arts District in downtown Dallas. Again, since this being my first time at the Dallas airport, I haven't had a chance to see the city of Dallas either, but love to see other cities among my journeys. So it's nice to get a glimpse of some of the things that Dallas may have to offer, or Fort Worth. There's the Botanical Gardens in Fort Worth, Texas. Fort Worth Stockyards. Old Red Dallas County Courthouse. Eisenhower Birthplace in Denison, Texas. Fort Griffin in Albany, Texas, and in the Sam Rayburn House in Bonham, Texas. Good choice of pictures that they're using for those, nice and vibrant. Then here's advertising the Kimball Art Museum. And keeps on going. Anytime I go to a new airport, it's like my opportunity to do a video tour, exploring it as a visitor for the first time. So you're sort of coming along the ride with me. Another exhibit from the Dallas Museum of Art. Pumpkin Infinity Room. And then this one's advertising the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum. I think maybe once before, there was like when I was picking flights during my connection, I had a chance to go either to Dallas, but typically when I fly, my connections will very often go through Denver, Las Vegas, or Phoenix. This time it happened to be a Dallas one, which was, I was like, oh, that's cool. And gave me a chance, like I said, to explore this airport for the first time. Unfortunately, when you look at like the Frontier Airlines, which is the airline that I use often for budget airline purposes. By the way, here's the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. But yeah, Frontier Airlines, it was unveiled that starting in January 2026 that they are going to be eliminating like the Cleveland to Dallas route, among a few others like Cleveland and Boston. And I think they said a few of them might return, depending on how things go later in 2026. I was like, oh, it always sucks when you have fewer route options on connections, but at least we're getting to see it now. This one is the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. Yeah, so as you can see, these gates 1 through 4 a bit more isolated compared to where we started. Here's one of the grab and go stations, but that is also closed right now. It's a nice like table over there with bar stool seating, and you get a view if you're trying to just work a little bit. There's a cake bar over here, chocolates, cake and coffee, some music playing. Over there, it's on the end, it's kind of like you could get a I also try to look when I'm walking through here of seating options. I don't want to say it's the best sleeping thing, but at least the end cap looked like you could possibly sleep on it a bit. Here's Trinity Grove's little bar. I guess they're the ones playing the music, even though they're closed right now. Alright, and then that is gates D2 and D1. But yeah, this is the part. So we've seen like a lot of people, or some people sitting, but I'm trying to think to myself, like right here, going between this and this, could this be a sleeping spot at the Dallas airport? I think it could be. Let's give it like a quick shot here. How comfortable is this? Oh, forgive me if you think this is weird. This is a common thing people look for at the airport, but these, at least just in that quick span, that was pretty comfortable. So if I was a person with a long layover and I'm in the D gates and I was doing this in the future, even though there's not a ton of those that I see in this spot, but you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 over there maybe. I mean, that one doesn't look as good quality, but and no one's utilizing them right now, so I don't think that's like perhaps because of the long walk all the way down here. Something to consider. Alright, now I'm going to cut the footage and we'll resume back near that Coca-Cola area. Alright, we're back here where we started. So we saw the Coca-Cola around the World Store earlier. I sort of passed by this other artwork exhibit, but I didn't get a chance to mention it since we went the other direction. But it's this bluish sculpture here. I think I still have the website up that references it. It's called Circling. They said it's the person who created it said, my thought was to create a game of some sort, a soothing, quiet, contemplative game, and then it considered labyrinths and their historical significance. They're used as walking for exercise, walking to rest, as in a calming meditation effect. And it's by artist Christopher Janey. Begin north, walk the westward path between 3 and 4 at the south, weave up between 001 and 2 in keeping score. Now quickly, it's 2 and 3, take care to be back to where you departed, listen to the harmonic labyrinth you started. So, like I said, one of the artworks that's located between gates D15 and D16. So I'll be headed back here later on for my own personal connection early in the morning. But now let's continue on toward gates, I guess D18 through 40. That's blocked off, but there is like a stairwell that goes to a second level, which I'm not sure if there's another restaurant up there. But here's Subway. And then there's also a Chick-fil-A back here. And that's where the Joy sign was where we started the video. There's also Sugarphonia. So obviously daytime. You know, this would, I'm sure, be very, very busy with customers. You also got a Lego store over here. Let's see, usually the Lego stores at the airports have some type of custom or theme for the area. This one's a cowboy with an animated face and their horse. Oh, so the staircase earlier appears to be flying saucer. Some nice plates, but it's also, like I said, that second level. So pretty big location with lots of seating. I mean, you would assume the food has to be good for that type of footprint. There's Texas Shade. And then a 7-Eleven. Did we finally find a store that's actually open right now during these hours? It looks like it. Unless they're just stocking merchandise. I mean, they're definitely stocking, so I don't know if they're actually open, but it doesn't seem like they're, quote, closed. And here's another Skylink entrance. Not too far away from the other one. So yeah, if you're coming for the Skylink, it's pretty evident to when you see them. Here's another one of the artworks in Terminal D. Also an iStore Express over there. Here's a Be Relax Spa if you want to get massages and other things. Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop. Kind of a small pro shop, but pro shop nonetheless. Bar Louie. We got a Capital One lounge over there. Over there, behind there was, I don't want to show it too much, but it looked like a couple people sort of in a hidden alcove, but it looked like it had that type of seating I was referencing where you could sleep a little bit comfortably. This is one of those areas where it has just a bunch of those fashion or fragrance related things, 360, duty free, and more. This looks to be another one of the TSA locations to our right. This is kind of interesting with some of these gates like D23, and you're looking like, where's the seating? The seating's actually like tucked behind here, and it does say additional customer seating available upstairs. Looks like you got a Chili's opening soon. There's Minute Suites. I did read about that. People were saying that Minute Suites, the traveler's retreat, they actually have like sleeping rooms that you can pay for. Another unique artwork here, kind of like the perspective it gives. And then yet another Skylink. So that's already 3 access points in a relatively short span here in the Terminal D. That would take you toward baggage claim and ground transportation, it says. There's a I assume brewery here. It says brewed. Food and wine bar. Trying to see what the best way to view some of this artwork is without the glare coming into effect. Oh look, they got a Christmas tree up. There's Dickie's barbecue pit. Artisan market. Now, even though it's a Christmas tree, it's a little bit unusual because I swear it looks like the top of it is just like chopped off. But there's a similar to the Joy sign, you could actually walk through it. And then here's another one of the sculptures located at Terminal D. Like I said earlier, according to the website, Terminal D is like by far the one with all the sculptures and artwork. So my impression is if we went to any of the other terminals, you would see like virtually nothing, or maybe even nothing. TX, MX. Looks like it's a native foreign food place. Frozen margaritas also advertising. Oh, and here's your McDonald's. I mean, that is some seating for McDonald's. Where's the actual McDonald's? And it looks like you could take that upper level stairs to Buffalo Wild Wings. Alright, there's where you actually order for McDonald's. Now we're all the way down by gate D34. Also got an Italian kitchen there. Univision travel shop. And another Skylink connection. Auntie Anne's pretzels. Coming soon over here, you're going to have a Texas General Store. And then that takes you to the end where you've got gate D40. I'm trying to see in the distance now. There's a big escalator over there, but that one does not say Skylink. That one just says escalators to bridge, and also mentions B gates and C gates. Well, it says it makes it sound like if you go to the left, you would go to the B gates. So I think that's what makes sense based on the map we saw earlier, how he said they're connected. But I wasn't sure how the C gates were connected. So it appears as though there's a bridge that can take you over it by foot. Well, for exploration purposes, let's go ahead and, again, I'm not sure how many of the terminals we're going to end up covering. There's a walkway that would take you to the B gates. Let's take this escalator up and see how far it goes by foot to the C gates. Yeah, unfortunately, again, if it was daytime, we'd be able to show you outside and what it looks like. So we'll at least do this. Let's see how, if you were hypothetically wanting to walk by foot, we'll give you a glimpse of how long it takes. Let's see here. We started at about 3:01 in like 30 seconds right now. Let's just say we started about 3:01 in 20 seconds once we got up to the bridge. I mean, I feel like in the distance I can already see the corresponding escalators heading downward. But yeah, we're definitely still going to try out the Skylink. Maybe we'll do that in Terminal C. Obviously, I won't know how true it is since I'm not experiencing it firsthand, but when I was doing some light research about the Dallas Fort Worth Airport, people were saying that the Terminal D was like the best one you want to go to if you're a visitor, just for all the restaurant options and such. Some people said that Terminal C was the most popular in terms of being busy. Again, how true that is, I don't know. Busy in terms of like foot traffic, but it's in terms of aesthetics, artwork, D was the place to go. I did see some people talking about, certain terminals had unique shops. Like I think Terminal A had a Toys R Us location in the airport. Terminal Terminal C, which we're heading to now, has what's branded as an employee store, but they were saying that it's actually open to the public, not right now, but during regular business hours, and has like fun American Airlines merchandise. Alright, so now we are in, I guess, the C gates. And I guess if you wanted to walk to the A gates or B gates, you could go that way too. We just passed Veterans Day, so some sign is thanking veterans. And also the Yandri Conference Center. So C2, I saw, they didn't say the employee store was at C2. Located by gate C2 in Terminal C. Huh. Oh, there it is. Okay. So again, we're not going to be able to see much right now. But over here it says DFW Employee Store, Dallas Fort Worth Employee Store. Public, and it does say public welcome. But some people online were just commenting how you can find like merchandise in here that you're typically not going to see anywhere else, and as far as the logos that are on there and everything else. So if you happen to be in the daytime and want to check something unique out, maybe look at the Dallas Fort Worth Employee Store. Because if you didn't know about it and you just saw that, you might think to yourself like, oh yeah, that's not something I can go to and shop at. I think people were even saying online you can get like little miniature figurines of aircrafts and other merchandise with the logos on them. For people who collect, it could be something of interest. Definitely a different vibe in the C gates. You got a Shake Shack here. And up ahead, Einstein Bagels. Dickey's Barbecue Pit. Got some more shops over here. Natalie's Candy Jar. Newslink, TGI Fridays. Well, like I said, if you're looking for Starlink or Skylink, just pay attention to the orange logo as you're going through the airport. So there's one of the Skylink's stations, and then the escalator behind it. I believe I read online too that American Airlines is the airline that dominates the sea gates. I'm not sure if it's the only one in the sea gates, but so far that's what we've seen. The only reason I didn't take the Skylink that we just saw back there is because I figure, okay, if we've already seen the D gates had multiple entrances to it, chances are we'll see the same thing for sea gates. Like I can see another Skylink just around this corner going that way. In fact, it looks like they're building the Christmas tree over there at this moment. Here's a 7-Eleven again being stocked up. Yeah, so it's unclear if those are open or if they're just like appear to be open because they're all being stocked at this time. This is like unique too, like the baggage claim exits are like see-through and right near here. We passed a place called Whisk Bowl. There's also Papadu Seafood Bar here. Yeah, look at this. Like, baggage claims are literally right up against, through the windows on some of these. Oh, so I guess that was the bar for the place, and the actual restaurant seating area is here for the seafood kitchen. They also got a little to-go shop. There's a little bit of artwork, although that's more specific to the restaurant. Oh, I did read that if you're outside, the best view of the airport is something called Founders Plaza. It's got certain hours that it's open, but it sounded like something that people loved for plane watching. Kind of constitutes artwork. So connect from Dallas Fort Worth to various areas of the city using the DART rail station at Terminal A. So that's interesting right there to think. Now I assume you have to exit the airport for that. But usually when I visit cities, if I'm actually going to the city, that's like one of the top things I check out. Like, okay, where's the transportation, or does it have transportation not only throughout the airport, but to get to other areas. Here's Maggiano's Little Italy kitchen. We got a Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins here. By the way, if I stutter some of my words here and there, bear with me. Like I said, if it's 3 a.m. now? Yeah, past 3 a.m. And that would mean, I got a tiny bit of sleep on the first leg of the flight, but still late with not a bunch of sleep. Gotta take a picture of this place. I just like the outside look of this. Who needs pumpkin spice when you can have a Rita? But just the signage of the cantina. Looks kind of cool. Not sure if that's an old American Airlines logo.
This one got to, but that one doesn't care about that.
So we just passed a Starbucks. This is near gate C21. So even though the D gates were promoted as having the best restaurant options, you still got an ample amount in the C gates. So I have a feeling like a lot of them are going to have enough places to eat. Look, you got Auntie Anne's, you got a McDonald's, Pizza Hut, another of the Bond Shop, Pinkberry, a Chick-fil-A, and then still another Skylink up ahead. One thing to note though, temperature as I'm getting further down the sea gates feels like it's like no air conditioning here. I mean, it's not necessarily that hot, but I mean compared to where I started, unless I'm just building up heat from walking and carrying my luggage. So gates C35 to 39 continue on to the left, but it also does say that there's a Skylink. I assume that's a preview of what's around the corner for restaurants. Like there must be a Chili's that's actually open down here. Dallas-Fort Worth is going monumental. A complete reimagining of Terminal C is underway that will transform the travel experience. Okay. So, I don't know if this is something that's already been done or if this is just like a break. I would say one thing you notice is definitely different flooring and brighter areas. By the way, the Skylink is there. That's probably what I'm going to have to be coming back to because I assume there's not going to be another one here. But to me, it looks like they're going to be working on redoing the floor the sketch there matches what's here. So I'm going to assume that this is what's been remodeled and they're probably going to brighten it up. So maybe it'll be a phased approach. Some more of the renderings. And this is a rendering of like one of the gates. Again, brighter, newer seating. Yeah, that was the first thing that struck me compared to the D versus C. As I was walking through, I commented on that a little bit. You can definitely tell the difference. It almost reminded me of the small Cleveland Hopkins airport that I'm accustomed to. We're taking 1.1 million square feet, 32 gates, 3 phases, and an all-new travel experience. Oh, okay, that's good. We have the Skylink over here too, so I won't have to walk as far to get back to it. But let's still try to take a quick peek around this corner, see if we can see. I'm going to assume that this is part of the newly renovated area already, although I could be wrong on that. This is the Chili's. Oh yeah, look at this. I mean, ampersand. Fort Worth magazine. look at those trees. That is really cool. That's a really cool effect how they have that. Alright, and I probably don't need to walk through the rest of it, but because it's just going to be the end of the C terminals, but this you're turning into a, I mean, basically a new looking airport or terminal. I am deciding to come down a little bit because I noticed some people sleeping in some of the chairs, so I want to see if there's something I can show off related to that. Yeah, some of the seating over here is sort of couch-like, so you could possibly, there's not a ton of it, so that's not something I would count on, but you might be able to curl up on some of the chairs. I think, or this one, I don't think anyone's sitting on, so I can get a better glance at it. Yeah, like right here more so. I mean, it's a bit curved, so you can think of the natural curve of your body. But if that's, how you sleep, or if you sleep like that with your back out, you might be able to make that work. I mean, it's pretty soft. Let me end up going down to the end anyway, because it looks like they have some artwork. And this is probably some of the transformation they're referencing when they want to add artwork to other areas. Yeah, the red, white, and blue effect up there. Yeah. So I'm glad I ended up, coming down the whole way of the sea gates. Check that out. Now I'm going to go to the Skylink escalator, and that'll be where I pick up the video again. So let's check out one of the Skylink stations. Gonna take the big escalators upward. By the way, I think it was just me working up a sweat because I took my jacket off and it feels nice and cool in here now. Putting up more Christmas decorations. By the way, it did say earlier that the Skylink terminals had some artwork in it throughout the platforms like this. So that's another way to check out some artwork. It says next one is boarding in 1 minute. So we're at the sea gates. I think normally you should be able to board either direction. But it's saying board here on this side. And you're going to be going from C to A, then to B, D, and E. Now the other side has it going the opposite way, but it does, that one that says use other side, this side is closed right now. So I don't know if that's just a nighttime thing or what. Or if it's just this particular station. I guess we should be able to see it coming through. Yep, there it is.
Please do not block the doors. Allow people to exit.
This would be going through the back side.
Doors are closing. Please do not block the doors. Please hold on. This train is departing. The next stop serves gate C1 through C20.
Kind of unique how you're like right overhead all the planes at the gates. That's another thing you have to keep in mind though when you're boarding this. You don't just get off at the next exit, 'cause like I said, the next stop is going to be at the beginning of the sea gates. Yeah, you're just mainly seeing reflections because it's nighttime here.
Exit here for gate C1 through C20.
Yeah, so that would be gates C1 through C20. Get a glimpse of some of the artwork there. Oh, sorry.
Doors are closing. Please do not block the doors. Please hold on. This train is departing. The next stop serves gates A22 through A39.
It tells you which one you're headed to next. We went from the C gates to A, then it would wrap around to B. Snag a picture. Well, I still got a bunch of time to kill. What is this, like Zeus? Yeah, I would say I still got plenty of time to kill, so I might as well check out some more of the airport. Yeah, I'm glad I came through some of these stations too to see the artwork in the terminals at the Skylink stations. Here's a similar one of the Christmas trees that they were constructing earlier at the C gates. This one's already completed at the A gates, Terminal A. And we're starting at the far end of Terminal A. And there's a Panera Bread. See, that's an example of, unless I overlooked it, when I went through the C and D gate so far, I did not see a Panera Bread, and that's one of my favorite spots to go to in the airport because I enjoy their pastries, and sometimes through the app you can get some nice deals. There's also Southwest News. Continuing in the Christmas spirit with the joy. There's a McDonald's right here. So I'm not going to walk all the way down that way, but you can see McDonald's, and I guess that's the seating area for McDonald's, and you would dine here. Still a lot of American Airlines presence. Got another Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop here, so some redundancy. California Pizza Kitchen. There's our Toys R Us. We got to see it. It's not a huge presence, but if you make a right-hand turn here, there you go, Toys R Us. Now, of course, you know Toys R Us doesn't have those national stores anymore, but they are trying to make a comeback, more so with the branding of the name and kind of going into small stores. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the old, or it's like partnered up with the Go toy stores. Yeah, they still got Jeffrey. Like if you have kids at the airport, you know, that might be something. Help pass the time with them. Let's look at the Skylink map here. So again, we went through the C. Well, this map's going this way. So we're at these gates, so there should be one other station at the A gates that we can go up to. Papacito's Cantina, another one of Natalie's candy jars. So even though there might not be a big artwork presence in here, by virtue of having like the unique, I dig how the restaurants are positioned. It almost gives me like an artwork vibe, as silly as it may sound. What's funny is as I'm walking through the airport, you almost like miss where the gates are located, because it's like the restaurants and shops have a dominant presence, and then all of a sudden if you pay attention, it's like, oh wait a minute, there's actually, you know, gate 825 right here, for example, kind of almost secondary to everything. Now that probably changes up here a little bit where you have several consecutive gates. But still interesting touch. There's a Dallas Cowboys Club. That one's actually a restaurant. See, I may have spoken too soon about all the restaurants and gates being transparent. Now we're getting to that stretch where, you know, there's no restaurants really. You're just experiencing the gates. Starbucks is open and there's a big line in there. Another McDonald's location. I think that's going to be more of the same. There's a Popeyes over there, but let's go to the Skylink again. I'm going to cut the footage and to where I'm actually up the escalator. Yeah, so far on the several stations I've boarded, it says use other side, so they must only be running one direction in the daytime, or sorry, in the nighttime. I could feel my brain getting a little more fried and tired, but we're gonna still trudge on a little bit. So we're still at we haven't explored B. So I guess we might as well get off at the B gates next, and then I could wrap it up by checking out E. So since I've already filmed this once, I'm not going to film getting on again. I'll just continue the footage back when we're starting off at the B gates. So back through now at the B gates, you can see that Skyway train was a little bit more crowded. So that makes me think during the daytime you could potentially get some pretty packed trains. Although one thing to note, online it says frequency every 2 minutes. Right now it seems like they're running more every 4 minutes or so, 4 or 5 minutes. And maybe it has to do with one side being shut down. I'm expecting the B gates to be similar. One thing I thought of though, you know, eventually I'm going to be back to my D gates when I'm done with the video. But in order to, when I get on the Skylink next, it's going to take me to the D gates and then the E gates. So I would get off at E just to explore it. But then when I want to finish the video and get back, I'm going to have to like go all the way around in a full circle because the other side's not working right now. So here's another McDonald's location. You can see they got seating everywhere, but it's interesting that right away we get to here where it's the Gameway station. I had read online some people were saying that it's like if you're looking to kill time at the airport and have like a fun experience and you're a gamer, you can go to Gameway. Now there is, of course, charges. You gotta pay to go in there and use it. But that was supposed to be one of the unique things to do at the Dallas Fort Worth Airport. So over there is gates B42 through 49. Again, forgive me if you're interested in this particular like terminal and I'm not. You're like, what the heck? I watched all the way through and he's not exploring it. I'm gonna grab a quick drink of water here for a second. But it does look very, just instantly look almost identical to the A gates to me. So you had the D gates, which still by far and away was the best. Then the C gates, which at first looked kind of like a little bit plain, but toward the end we saw the renovated area. It has a unique flair to it. And now we're seeing A and B, in my opinion, with very similar themes. And again, lots of American Airlines. Is that like the only airline that is here? Well, I know I got on Frontier. I'll have to check the map later. When I say map, I mean the directory that shows like all the departing airlines coming up for the next morning. Looks like there's one of the chapels there. So actually now, I'm trying to think, I may have been confused. No, that's the Gameway. So we're in Terminal B. So I guess the Gameway is located in multiple gates. I don't know. Because when I look at, now I'm thinking back, I'm like, wait a minute, I swear the Gameway, I was looking forward to showing that in Terminal E. And on the website it keeps saying Terminal E. Oh, it looks like they also, yeah, so it must be Terminal B as well. Terminal E may have a bigger presence of that Gameway video games spot. Yeah, I was tempted to skip Terminal B earlier, having a feeling it would be similar to A. That's alright, we'll just trudge through, get up to the next Skylink. Does this show us departing flights? Yeah. So lots of American Airlines. Are some Alaska Airlines, few Delta and E. Yeah, maybe the E gates have other airlines represented better. Well, the more I saw all the American Airlines presence, I thought to myself, I wonder if this is like a hub or like the main location, similar to how Denver is for Frontier. Quick Google search says Fort Worth is where American Airlines is headquartered, so if that's the case on my quick Google search, then that makes sense why the heavy presence. On to the next Skylink. So yeah, I feel a little dumb now for not realizing, like, okay, yeah, American Airlines is headquartered here, that's why you're seeing the huge presence. I did read that they're under construction of a Terminal F, and once Terminal F opens, they hope to allow some other airlines to go in some of the other terminals. And then Terminal E, according to the website, is predominantly where most other airlines, if they do have a presence, have one there. And the Terminal D where we started is like the international airport. So that's why there's a few other ones in there as well. Alright, now I am at the E gates. Just got off the Skyway. So let's check out our last terminal. We're again starting toward the upper end of the gates, and we are getting closer to, it's 4 a.m. now, 4:10 a.m. to be specific, so we may see some places open, like Wendy's right here. I don't remember seeing a Wendy's in the other ones, but looks like they're open for breakfast already. More activity as people, for the early morning travelers, file through TSA. Alright, so we'll skip gates 34 through 38 and just head this way, similar to the other ones. Wendy's, Panda Express. This is what we were kind of looking for. I mean, who knows how long Spirit Airlines will still be a presence, but you're seeing other airlines besides American in the E concourse or E terminal.
May I have attention, please? John Williams, please call your mother.
Otherwise, in terms of the look and feel, it looks virtually the same as A and B to me. So the way I'd look at it is A, B, and E have a similar look and feel. A and B are dominated by American Airlines. E is dominated by everything but American Airlines. C is American Airlines, but it is being upgraded to kind of a new look and feel, and then D is still the place to be for its uniqueness. Jimmy John's and a Jamba Juice. Let's see here, what is that? Gates. Oh, I think there is like a satellite. I read E-Gate satellite, so you may be able to take the stairs and like go downward. I don't know if that's where the satellite's located, but I did read that online. That somewhere there was like an underground passageway to take you to other gates. Here's Frontier Airlines, even though I got off a Frontier flight in the D gates. Signage up ahead indicates the United Club's up there. Big presents for TGI Fridays.
May I have attention please? John Williams, please call your mother.
John Williams, please call your mother. I heard that over the intercom. Okay, so here's the Gameway location that I was mainly reading about. I mean, it doesn't look any bigger than the other one, though. But still, it's, I guess, good to know that it's in the E gates and B gates. This one has some drinks and stuff. You can see there's like Nintendo Switch in there. I think they're supposed to be PlayStations. So I'm sure that's a nice treat. Oh, here's an interesting thing here. Look. Possible like sleeping areas. See some people taking advantage of that. There's not a lot of those seats, but a little more than a handful or two handfuls. Delta Gate down at E14. Einstein Bagels open. Looks like 7-Eleven is open, despite all the inventory still being stocked. The bubble presented by Coca-Cola. Another one of those bottles. We saw those in the D gates earlier. So you've got gates E1 through E10 down that way, but I think in general we've covered what I wanted to do, some good exploring. So thanks for tuning in. I guess one more time we can look at one of these maps. Just to reference everything we went through. So we started off at Terminal D, around this area. You know, we did check out all this stuff down here, but then eventually walked. And instead of, like, we could have walked to the B gates, but here is where it doesn't quite show it. I guess the escalator. There was a bridge that went across to the C gate, so we checked out. Sorry, trying to zoom in appropriately. We checked out the C area, then that's when we took the Skyway to the A gates. Then the Skyway looped around to the B gates. Then I took the Skyway past D. And then I'm assuming this is the future home of F, because it took a while. Like, it went all the way around and it went to E. In the future, it did say when they opened F that security, people going through security would go through E and then have to go over to F. I don't think, yeah, there's no way to get from E to D directly. I'm not sure if you can walk from E to C, but we'll have to, I'll probably just take the Skylink anyway, since that'll take me right there. So if you enjoyed this tour through the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, remember, this is from the perspective of a first-time visitor. That's how I like to do a lot of my videos, even though sometimes I like to do more research. You know, only had time to do light research. The one big thing I regret, like I said earlier, is not realizing that American Airlines was a dominant presence here. Because how many times do they keep on saying, like, boy, there's a big lot of American Airlines gates here. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time. And of course, me being tired and all, I picked the one the one Skylink that has the escalator not working. But we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.